Have you ever heard of the Tulip Mania of 1637? It was back in Holland, right? And you're like, tulips, aren't they like the little flowers? Yes. And people just started going nuts over these tulips, right? And people started trading in. Let's take that an average tulip is $1, let's say. People start saying, no, I think it's actually worth $5. No, I think it's worth $20. I think it's worth my horse. I think it's worth my carriage. And people literally started trading their real estate, their homes and their lands for one tulip. Okay, it was going crazy. That's why they called it a mania, right? Well, eventually one day people realized that this whole thing was a sham. And overnight, the people that got stuck with this tulip and traded their house, everything crashed and they had no more money. Right? Because their whole idea was, hey, I'm going to trade my house for one of these tulips, but then I'm going to trade the tulip for an even better house, right? And they tried to play the system, but then whoever, as soon as the music stopped and you don't have a chair left, then you're out of the game. That's exactly what happened. And there have been many bubbles over the years, economic bubbles. A couple of them are stock market bubble in 1920s, dot-com bubble in 1990s, the housing bubble in the 2000s, and the Bitcoin bubble in 2017. Now, that's what this whole movie is about. It's called The Beanie Bubble. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. We're going to go over 3 things in this video. Number one thing that we're going to go over is that pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. If you haven't heard that term, you should put it on your wall, because it is a great axiom for you need to go out there and get as much as you can. But if you're too greedy, you're going to get slaughtered like those hogs. And that's essentially what this guy's whole business model, his whole business model was based on scarcity. If you don't remember, I don't remember super well the Beanie Bear, just Beanie Bears in general. I'm sure you probably heard of them. I heard of them, but they were in the 1990s. Essentially, they were these stuffed animals, but they were less stuffed than other ones, and they had a really good brand name with it, and everybody loved these Beanie Bears. And their whole business model was around scarcity. So they would produce a certain amount, let's say 500, and people would buy them and sell them on the black market, on the internet or on eBay, and they would make more money from it. But every time that they were selling it on the black market because they were scarce, then that brought even more people to buy Beanie Bears, right? Well, what ends up happening is that because their business model is based on scarcity, they only produce a certain amount every year, right? Well, he ends up getting too greedy, and he's like, no, we're going to produce more Beanie Bears than ever this year. We're going to produce so many Beanie Bears. And one of the girls that was really close to the top, she's like, wait, we can't do that, because that's gonna drop the entire market. If we produce too much of the supply, then the scarcity goes away, and people don't care about them anymore because they're not scarce. If everybody, it's like in Incredibles, if everyone is super, then no one is. If everybody has a Beanie Bear, then there's no scarcity involved. But if there's only one Beanie Bear in the world and everyone wants it, then it's going to go for tons and tons of money, right? Well, that's what happens, that they get a little too greedy, become like hogs, and get slaughtered right off the bat. And it's just like the Aesop's fables, where don't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs, right? If you remember the story, there's a goose and it lays golden eggs, and he literally has gold. Well, but the goose can only produce so many at a time, let's say one a month. Well, the guy's like, man, I want to get more of those golden eggs. I want to get more of those gold. So he ends up killing the goose, and he looks inside of the goose, but there aren't any more golden eggs, because that's not how golden eggs are produced. You can't open up the goose to find the eggs. You have to wait for them to produce it. So don't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. Lesson number 2 is promote from within. You read any management book or any books on leadership, and they will always warn you of outside consultants. Now, I'm not saying don't hire outside consultants, because that can definitely help your company grow, but beware of promoting outside consultants above your inner people. Not that it's bad for morale, although it could be, but more importantly, that the people inside your own camp, inside your own business, are going to know even more. They're going to know all the day-to-day intricacies of your business and what has made your business succeed and grow. It's like when I've talked with many different people on the outside that know about Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and they say, "Oh man, you should change your business like this. Hey, what if you did one times instead of monthlies, and then we could do this?" And I have to explain to them, "Hey, listen, I have tried that. That isn't what our business is based on. That isn't following our mission of our company." And if they're from the outside, they're inherently not going to know your business model as well as somebody from the inside. And so the key is you need to work together. And in this movie, the guy ends up hiring on this outside consultant, puts him above everybody else, and this outside consultant says, "You should produce more Beanie Bears than ever," and it ends up crumbling the entire business because they just brought in somebody from the outside and they didn't keep the people from within who knew about the business, right? Lesson number 3 is date thoroughly before marriage. Now, you might be saying, "Isn't this a business video? Aren't you supposed to be like, teaching me about business?" Well, it applies to business and to your personal life. Okay, so you're getting a double duo right now, double whammy. So, with business and personal relationships, both of them, there's an old saying that the first 6 months of relationships is just total BS. I heard this from Patrick Bet-David. First 6 months is just BS. Everybody's trying to put on their best face and their best behavior so that everybody thinks that you're the best person, right? Again, in business and with your personal relationships. But as you start going through hardships and start going through trials, you're going to start seeing who this person really is. Well, you can see this perfect example in the Beanie bubble in this movie, that in his personal relationships and in his business, he goes through one marriage and then one almost marriage. And the first girl, she just comes on and it's really quick. And he's like, "Yeah, let's be business partners. Let's go in this together." And they just start doing it. It starts becoming successful. Well, pretty soon he's like, "Yeah." He starts going behind her back and says, "No, actually, I'm the one who started this company. You don't have any say in it," and kicks her right out. Well, she didn't know who this guy was because she didn't date thoroughly. Well, later on, he meets another girl and they start dating, they get engaged, and one night he just has this mental breakdown and she's like, "What? I've never seen you like that." And thankfully, she ends up not marrying him because she found out that he wasn't what she was looking for. So whether you're in a personal relationship or in a business relationship, make sure you date thoroughly. You spend enough time to get to know this person in the good times and in the bad times. And when you see them in both, then you'll be able to make a good judgment of whether you want to stay with them or not. So my challenge to you is go ahead, watch this movie, The Beanie Bubble. I always want to say Beanie Bear. The Beanie Bubble. It was produced by Apple. Really, it was a high quality movie, like the production, the cinema. So go ahead, watch this movie, and then every single week, my challenge to you is watch a movie, an inspirational movie every single week, and that will inspire you to become better and to improve your business and your personal life. And with that said, I will see you next time.